Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. It's your boy JC. I'm in the mood, love. Yeah. Lately I've been constantly thinking about you, babe. You drive me crazy, yeah. And girl, I want this. Got me all up in my feelings. Over the feeling, yeah. I knew the first time I laid eyes on you that you would be here forever. I'm not being arrogant, and I still can't take my eyes off you. 'Cause you made me better, so much better. I'm in the mood to love you for a lifetime.
Hey everybody, it's Mike and Wendy in the Marriage Shop. Hopefully you got an alert to let you know that we are live. We are excited to be here another Monday, blessed to be here another Monday just to share a little time with you. So if you know somebody that needs to come in here with you, go ahead and tag them and drag them in.
Tag them and drag them. Welcome to the Marriage Shop. It's Monday, y'all.
Yes. I saw Thomas Stokes was on a little early. Thanks for joining us, Thomas Stokes. Yes.
Hey, Thomas. Hey, good to see you, bro. And hey, I would just like to say, I should probably wait for a few minutes, but I'll say it now. How about them Cowboys? I mean, come on. How about them?
Yeah.
That's all. I mean,
would you call it a good game?
Yeah, they won it. If you win, I feel it's a good. If you win with your backup in like opposing teams' territory, it's a good game. Yes, absolutely, great game. It was.
Does Andy Dalton still play for the Cowboys?
No, Andy Dalton's in like Chicago or something. Anyway,
okay.
Listen here. I just want to say I'm selling bandwagon tickets. You can still get on. The seats aren't great, but the view is fine. So
that's hilarious.
If you want to come on back, I know a lot of y'all want to come back. So if you want to, you can come on. Okay. All right. So that's all I'm gonna do on football today, though.
That's all you don't know.
Because all of my friends who are normally haters and they're like having a good time, they're not having a good time right now. It's hard for them. I feel for them. I feel for you, friends. You're still my friends, right? Even though I'm having a good football year. I mean, are we not? I'm due for one at least, right? Anyway,
yeah. Congratulations.
Yeah.
So if you were with us last week, we had a great conversation about whether or not it's okay to look. And we were talking about really, I mean, I guess when it boils down to it, limiting temptation.
Yeah. I mean, and so the thing is this, I mean, we're going to see, right? And so the question is, do you look? Do you seek out? Do you take in things that are outside of, not only outside of your marriage, but outside of what is even perhaps best for your marriage, right?
Yeah.
And anything that disrupts your attention and your connection toward this person that you are spending the rest of your life with. So I think it's important to guard against that second look, but also to consider, what we take in and how we take it in.
Yeah.
It's important.
So we had some real good discussion around that. So tonight, and it's interesting, right? So whenever we are on a holiday, upon a holiday, around a holiday, people are always busy. I think we're just always busy doing something, whether you are observing the holiday, participating in the holiday, or watching other people participating in the holiday.
So
it's just a busy time.
You mean like Halloween? Is that the holiday you're speaking of at this moment?
Yes.
I mean, is that really even listen, for all of you who love celebrating Halloween and such, I don't consider that like a real holiday. I mean, people celebrate it, obviously, but I just, nah. I mean, are people taking off work for Halloween? Are they like traveling? Well, I guess we just came back from Savannah. Bunch of people were there for Halloween. I guess they're traveling. Sorry, y'all. Put it in the chat. You can tell me, is it real holiday or not. I don't think it is.
Man, I don't think so. We're not talking
So-
about whether or not Halloween is a real holiday.
just-
That's not what we're
I
talking
know.
about
And
tonight.
so we're not talking about whether to give the kids the candy or not.
No.
Okay. Because I quit. I retired now. So tell your kids don't come to my house.
Yeah. So hey Nicolette, thanks for joining us. So yeah, no, what we're talking about is when you as a couple perhaps don't agree on whether or not it's a holiday or whether or not to celebrate holidays.
Oh, so we just we jumping right on in there, huh?
Yeah.
So okay. I mean, well, I guess we're talking about how you come to agreement on that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you agree, maybe you don't. And if there's some difference of opinion about how you celebrate, what you celebrate, even, and oftentimes that comes up. We're in a time of the year now where traditions run strong.
Yeah.
What we do, what you do for Halloween, what you do for Thanksgiving, what you do for Christmas, etc. People come to the table with some really strong opinions and even some expectations and ideas about how they're going to do it.
Yeah. Hi, Fusion. Thanks for joining us. I think it's the first time we've seen you in the Marriage Shop, so welcome. It's a good night to drop in.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's this whole. We talk often about how when people get married or when you marry someone, what you are combining is two different backgrounds, two different histories, two different experiences, and you are entering into a relationship where you now will share and in some cases create your new traditions and new memories and new processes. And so sometimes that happens with ease and sometimes it happens with challenge.
Yeah. And so tonight, by the time we're done, what we hope to do is to give you some ideas about how to work through if those things are challenges for you.
Mm-hmm.
But I encourage you to share this with somebody because, and we debated about going with this tonight, right? Because we know that some of you hold really tight to the things that you want, that you've done, your traditions. Wendy asked a question earlier. She said, "Is it about, for example, letting kids be kids, right? Or is it about raising them up in the way that they should go?"
Yeah.
Right. And sometimes those two things don't match up very well. You got to make some choices.
Yeah.
Right. So, and so some of you are battling with that. Some of you are battling with, this is what we've always done since I was a kid. I remember the sights, the sounds, the smells, and I've been waiting to recreate that.
Yeah.
Right. And so now you're an adult and you're like, I'm gonna recreate it. Speaking of recreating, by the way, okay, you all have to see this. Hold it, check it.
Oh, and I'm staying corrected. Fusion has been here three times.
3 times.
The name hasn't come up that way that I could recall. Well, welcome back.
Welcome back. But so if the year was 1997, if by my math, I think that's 24 years ago. 24 years. So Wendy and I, it's actually October 31st, I believe, in 1997, and we were at Walter Reed, and she was gonna come back home with me to visit my family. I think this was actually the first time she was meeting.
It was the first time I was meeting your family,
right?
Yes.
Had you met my dad yet at that point?
I had not met anybody in your family at that point.
So she hadn't met anybody in my family at that point. So we hop in the car and we are like in uniform, I think, when we got in the car.
Yeah. But
right?
we were going to spend time with your family because there was a big Halloween party, annual Halloween party.
A big
to
Halloween
my understanding.
Well, I don't think it was annual. If it was, it had been established after I left town. Anyway, it was a big party at my aunt's house.
Mm-hmm.
And I was taking Wendy home to meet the family. This is one of those big days, right? And so we got in the car. We were in uniform. We were in Washington, D.C. at Walter Reed. And then we hopped in the car and we drove on down to Virginia, right? And to Chesapeake, Virginia, down the Hampton Roads. And so when we got there, remember, Wendy got in the car in uniform. When we got there, Wendy looked like this. Now,
I'd be like, which one of those is Wendy?
I mean, do we have to tell you all which one is Wendy? Right? Clearly, I want to just make sure everybody I'm not going to tell you which one she is. Somebody just put in the chat which one you think she is. All right. Because I find it difficult to believe she get that wrong. But that's, now, well, anyway, y'all know Wendy's the one on the right. She's the cat. My mom is actually on the left, and in the middle is my mom's older sister, Margie. So yeah, that was Halloween 1997. And that is the cat heard around the world apparently, because it's still talking about.
Yeah, see, Casey said
every now and then annual. Exactly. It's like I didn't remember this.
The short one.
I did not remember that. So anyway, so
yeah, I mean that's what I heard, that it was like, this was something that y'all did more than once.
Maybe that's a plan.
It was often.
I don't know. No, it was actually. I wouldn't even say it was often. No,
okay.
It's just because typically we were all out just we were trick or treating, and so I show you that picture intentionally though, right? Because we're not here to tell you what right or wrong is for you, right? We have our opinions about what celebrate, what not celebrate, and all that. Mm-hmm. But we're not necessarily here to talk about that. What we want you to do is to have some way that you talk about it.
Yeah.
That you come to some agreement on what it's going to be, because there will often be some challenges around that.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. So it just so happens that I also grew up in a family. My family, I grew up, I can't say I grew up in church, but we went to church.
Mm-hmm.
But we always celebrated and participated in Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of the ones where, my mother didn't necessarily go all out and decorate the house, but we generally would have costumes. We would dress up. We always went trick-or-treating. It was just something that we always did. And I think, like many of you, it's one of those things where you don't want your child to miss out, right? Or maybe they're dressing up at school or in their community events. And it's this whole idea of, in order to take part in the fun, or in order to, to not be left out. And so for years, so when that came up, there was no crisis of conscience for me. It wasn't like, oh my goodness, y'all celebrate Halloween and I just can't do that. For us, Halloween was one of those ones that it was just like, okay.
Yeah, of course it was. And we ran around in those costumes. Though that should have been illegal. I'm pretty sure they got to be illegal now. The little plastic mask. Some of y'all are old enough to remember. Little plastic mask had a slit about the size of a piece of rice and two little holes for you to breathe through. That was it. Visibility was like straight ahead, like little pinholes. That was it. Running around in those crazy costumes, like putting our lives in danger. I'm pretty sure, right?
Yeah.
But we trick or treated and all that stuff. I actually stopped trick or treating early because in Virginia there was a law, and I actually thought there was a law everywhere about this. I thought that everybody had kind of a Halloween curfew, if you will. It was a cutoff. I think 8:00 at night. KC can verify that for me. But I think it was 8 p.m. was the cutoff, and you had to be 12 years or younger. And so I remember when I was 11, people were looking at me because I was getting tall really fast at that point, and they were like questioning whether or not I was legit, like a legit Halloweener, a trick or treater. And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, I'm gonna call the police, or whatever.
Goodness.
And I'm like, okay, it's not that serious. So at 12, I just skipped, because by 12 years old, I was wearing size like 13 shoe and all that other stuff. So I was getting pretty tall. So I just went ahead and forego whatever. I didn't do that last year.
Yeah.
So I think the next time I actually did anything real celebration was actually that party where this picture pops up that y'all just saw.
Oh my goodness.
I'll show it to you again just in case you didn't get a chance to see it. Bam, right there. That would be Wendy, the short one on the right, the cat.
Yeah. So anyway, but we had a lot of fun. And so there was this whole, you went trick-or-treating, and this was endorsed by the school. We would have costume contests at school, elementary school.
Yep.
They even had trick-or-treat for UNICEF. So they even brought in another element. So it was like, if you didn't necessarily want to go out to ask for candy, you could go out with these little boxes. We had little boxes where you could go out and you could ask for donations. I remember this like it was yesterday. This was back in the 70s. Whew. Donations for a good cause. So they were trying to, I won't say we're trying to capitalize on a holiday, but it was just a different approach to it. So
but no, they were very much trying to capitalize on a holiday, which is what happens, right? Everybody's capitalizing on holidays. fundraisers, auto dealerships, obviously the shopping mall. Like if your business entities are capitalized on, and I think it's actually a really important thing to consider. We're not getting in all that real deep tonight,
No.
but it is something important to consider. Y'all know if you watched us for long enough, you know how I feel about like Valentine's Day, for example. But that's neither here nor there. Next
so
time.
We're not talking about the commercialism of holidays.
But if y'all want to talk about the commercialism,
we're
y'all
not.
hit us up in the chat. What's up, Justice Smith? Hey, Michelle Moore Wilson.
Yeah. So this whole idea of not whether or not it's a holiday or if you should observe the holiday, that's not really the discussion we're having. What we're talking about is how to navigate that if the two of you don't agree, right? So Justice says that he used to sneak out for Halloween because his dad wasn't having it, right? And so some of you grew up in households where it was one of those things where either your parents agreed or they didn't agree, but they were pretty clear on what it was going to be for the whole household. And one of the things for sure, our girls, we allowed them to dress up for years. And then we transitioned to just having candy available. And I would always get a kick out of seeing the little kids come to the house trick-or-treating in all their different costumes. And they were just always so cute. And it seemed so much fun. However, for many of us, and we impress upon you, as you research and you learn and you discover more and more about the things, whether they are traditions we observed or practiced, or other things, as we come into more knowledge about things, it changes your perspective about things. Potentially. And so, but we're not talking about necessarily our changed perspective. What we're talking about is your perspective and how you come together. All right. So you're about to take us there. I mean, we're not going there. Okay. Halloween is just one, and the only reason why we bring that up was because it was yesterday, right? Christmas is another one. So often married couples find themselves on two different sides of Christmas in terms of whether or not Christmas, the primary focus where the singular focus of Christmas is Christ and the birth of Christ, not on the giving of gifts or receiving of gifts. And so some people really there's tension and stress related to whether or not this is going to be something that we're doing for fun, or if for some reason we're all heathens.
So look, you don't have to put yourself on blast. I'm just curious, have you ever, do you know anybody, right? If you know somebody, you can go ahead and say, you don't have to give us their name, but do you know any couples where there's been maybe some conflict? There's some tension, some disagreement around how you celebrate holidays, what holidays you observe, maybe even what's considered a real holiday or not, right? Yeah. But are those things that perhaps you've discussed, or maybe things that you need to discuss? A lot of people just kind of go along to get along, right? Where I don't agree with you necessarily, but hey, it's what you do. So do what you do and I'm going to do what I do, right? A lot of couples actually do that.
Yeah, right. A lot of couples do that, or they defer or do what they think is best for the kids, right? So it is about this inclusion and about their experience growing up and not being excluded from groups and acceptance ultimately. And so when there are traditions, so we know families and children who are of different cultures and different religions who don't historically and traditionally celebrate Christmas, for example, but they are celebrating Christmas and going to the ugly Christmas sweater party and participating and exchanging gifts because that's what we kind of do as a society.
Yeah. So the nature of that celebration, right, becomes, and so because a lot of people, and if you've been in the workplace, then you'll know that a lot of times, people take issue with the idea of Christmas, right? Or the Christmas holidays, et cetera. And so the holiday season to encompass a number of things. And, some of y'all might take issue with that. But I think, it requires asking the question like, well, okay, why do we celebrate Christmas when we do, right? What is it really about for those that are celebrating? And so, it keeps on wanting to drag into that. We're not going there tonight, but I do want to know, like, for you all, how do you come to agreement on that? How does a couple come to agreement on something, particularly if we come from different sides? And as Wendy mentioned, we have some friends who are way on opposite, well, if not on the opposite spectrums, in very different places in terms of where they are with faith, with how these whole 9 yards, and they find ways to try to work it out. And shoot, for that matter, a lot of times, a lot of things we do for the kids, it's very interesting to me, right? Because it's important for us to do it for the kids. We want them to have fun. We want them to have these experiences and memories. We don't want them to miss out. We don't want them to be isolated or ostracized amongst their friends. Okay, I wasn't going here, but I'm gonna say it, right? Think about that too, as it pertains to what is marketed to us, as it pertains to like virtually everything. I'm talking toys, phones, what's promoted during the holidays, what's promoted, period.
Yeah.
A lot of it is designed, cards, right? It's designed for that innate, that social thing, that tug that we get sometimes, right?
Yeah.
To be with everybody else, like everybody else, whatever. So just something to keep an eye on.
Yeah. So we could go down the whole list: Halloween, Christmas, Valentine's Day, Easter, St. Patrick's Day, just to name a few, each of those. So really, what are we talking about? We're talking about whether or not you have to agree. And we also want to recognize that for some couples, this is an area of tension.
Yep. Yeah. And for some of you on the edge of your seat right now, like, what are you going to say? Because I want to have my Halloween party, my cookout, my whatever. Hey, whatever, do what you need to do. But the question becomes, what do you do together, right? And so there are a few things that we pulled up that I think actually some great questions to discuss between the two of you as to what you celebrate and how you do it. Right?
Yeah, I think so. It's definitely a way to kind of examine what the both of you are creating together. So I mentioned when you get married, you're in a position to create your own traditions, right? And fundamentally, you should absolutely communicate on what your perspectives are, what your beliefs are, what your practices are, and what you believe it should be going forward, whether you have children or not.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I guess some of us don't have the kids excuse. We just want to have a good time. Yeah. And I think it's also important to note, because a lot of times, these are things that are very, very important to people. They have very strong emotions around them, and a very strong connection to things that traditions or the reasons that they've chosen one thing or the other. I think it's important to give each other, as we talked about before, some space and some grace. You can't, well, I guess you could, but I don't think it's most effective to just come in and drop the hammer like, hey, this is how it's going to be. Right. We're doing this no matter what, or we're not doing this no matter what. I don't care what you think. That can't not be the case. It's important to try to find a way to come together, or to come to that place together, or if you, and some people just agree to disagree.
Yeah. Some people agree to disagree.
Yeah.
And if that's you, then, hey, this is a no judgment zone. Right. We are really only leveraging and launching things just for thought and to start a conversation, if this is a conversation that you need to have and you're trying to find a way into it. The whole idea is that there are enough things that cause stress and tension on a marriage that if you can identify or eliminate some of these, then that just moves you a little bit further along and closer together. And so, in other words, we don't need extra stress. We don't need stress. We don't need to be fighting over whether or not we're going to observe the holiday. We don't need to be fighting over whether or not it's about the kids or it's not about the kids. We want to come into agreement. And a lot of what we share with you are ways for you all to start to have the conversation in hopes that will lead to more agreement and alignment in your marriage.
Yeah. So in the interest of conversations, I think it's important to go ahead and have those, right? Sometimes it can be a little uncomfortable, whatever. And so there are several things. And we actually, we're just kind of looking around, and we went to, came across gotquestions.org. I don't know if you all have any of you have seen this, but gotquestions.org, it's hundreds of thousands of questions that people have asked about how to live like Christian life, being a Christian and the Bible and things like that. So it's all these questions about the Bible. And there's actually some sound answers in there. And so ran across a few on this particular topic of holidays and celebrating. I think were really good. So we decided to go ahead and bring those here for you. All right. Okay. So here's the thing. And this is for Christian couples trying to decide, what they're going to celebrate and how, things to consider. So here's the first question. And we put it up. Does the holiday in any way promote false doctrine, superstition, or immorality? And each of them, and you can catch this on the replay, grab a notebook and write this down, but you can try to check out the scriptures that it pulls up. I think these are pretty sound. But this is a question to ask, right? And this is something that you all can sit down and talk about together, because there's kind of what you want to do and what you don't want to do, et cetera. Mm-hmm. But as we kind of try to draw closer to God, which is what Wendy and I often talk about, in order to strengthen your relationship, it's really about drawing closer to God. What's God saying? And what's he not saying? Because people often put things in the Bible too that are just not there. And so you got to be careful about that too. And people kind of creating their own doctrine, right? And so don't put things in there that aren't there. There's enough there to help give you some guidance, I think, and some wisdom. So that's the first question. Does the holiday in any way promote false doctrine, superstition, or immorality? Here's the second question. Can we thank God for what we observe on a holiday? I'm like, hey, that's actually a really good question, right? Because it kind of it kind of puts me in the same mindset of, can I thank God for allowing me to do everything that I do in a given day, or everything I've done? There's some things I would not thank God for allowing me to do. I would thank him for allowing me to survive them. But I think this is an important question that you can consider as a couple too. Now, these can be pretty challenging to talk about, but I think that's exactly the reason why that it's important to talk about them as a couple.
Yeah. Because I think, it is a hard thing to change tradition. It's a hard thing to make a decision that maybe puts your children, if you have children, put your children in a position where they have to defend their beliefs, right? Or their practices. However, you two have to mutually agree on whether or not it's the right thing, right? What is the right thing for your marriage and for your family? Yeah.
So third question is this: will celebrating the holiday detract from our Christian testimony or witness? And so again, check out that scripture. That's Philippians 2:15. It's a good question. Again, I guess that goes a little bit with what I just said a few minutes ago, right? Can I celebrate what has happened here, or do I have to celebrate that I survived it? Right. So I think that helps to give you some direction as a couple. And the fourth and final question: is there a way to redeem elements of the holiday and use them to glorify God? And this is kind of based on the idea that there are a lot of holidays that we celebrate aren't necessarily Christian holidays, but they've been in some ways kind of co-opted, right, in order to espouse some Christian type beliefs, and so thanks to God. Thanksgiving is one, in fact, right, where we give thanks for everything, the ways that God's blessed us. And so is there a way to do that, to redeem those elements of the holiday and use them in a way that brings God glory? Right. And good questions. I think those are great questions.
Yeah, good questions.
And I can say they're great because, I mean, if we'd done them, I said they were really good, but we didn't. So
not our questions.
Yeah.
So we're not here to cast judgment. And yes, we, just like everybody else, are looking at all of the cute pictures of your kids out there having gone trick-or-treating last night. That's not what it's about. But when you are having a disagreement about superficial things, we can sometimes just kind of push those aside, agree to disagree, move on, and move past them. When there are deeper things or things that become issues of the heart, or things that are really important to us that maybe bring to question our family traditions, our past, our histories, those are a little bit more difficult to navigate.
Yeah, they're difficult to navigate, and that's why it is so important to not avoid them.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It was, yeah, it's important to not avoid them because you're going to, no matter if there's a disagreement, obviously there's going to be tension, there's going to be disagreement.
Yeah.
And people, they want the tension and disagreement to go away, so oftentimes the conversation goes away as well.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever is creating that divide remains. And so I think it's important to really kind of come to a place together where you can begin to close that divide and build that unity and oneness that's going to strengthen you as a couple. And as Wendy said, some things are not worth destroying your marriage or losing that love and relationship that you have, right? It's just, it's up to you to decide how far, how deep, how wide you want to go, how much of the discomfort you want to face in order to get to a place where you all are standing in agreement together.
Yeah. And I think you can take that question off. It's been a bit for me.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, I mean, I think, as we week to week come and we have discussions with you all about different issues and challenges, and sometimes not always issues and challenges, but that are not just unique to our marriage, but that are similar in all marriages. As we bring those things and we try to really kind of take a deeper look, that's really what we're challenging you to do, right? So it's real easy to skirt along the surface on a lot of things, a lot of days, most of the time, right? We can all kind of exist up here in this happy place where there's no challenge, there's no stress, there's no arguments. Everything is everything. We get along, we agree, and everybody's good all the time.
It seemed like there was going to be some more to that, like like a caveat.
Well, what I'm saying is, while that might be the desire,
Mm-hmm.
and for some people, maybe that's the reality. For many of us, that's not the reality.
Mm-hmm.
And in order for us to be able to wholeheartedly have and operate from a place of knowing and understanding and acceptance, sometimes we have to challenge each other, challenge our marriage, and challenge ourselves to talk about the other things, to go deep.
Yeah. Some people would call it the elephant in the room. I'm just saying, I don't even know how you let an elephant in your house. So hopefully you all can get at things when they are small. But if they have become large, or they seem to be impossible to grapple, then it is about just stepping through it piece by piece together. That's it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this is going to be a quick one tonight. We just wanted to kind of jump on that because, I mean, it was Halloween, right? Yeah. But the important thing to take away from this is that there are ways to get to having the conversation that you want to have. Even when you don't agree, it doesn't mean that it's not something that it's hopeless to resolve. There can be hope in resolution. And even if it's not immediate resolution, being courageous enough to have the conversations and to confront the difficult things will likely have you rewarded in the long run.
Yeah. And if you do agree, I think it's important to often kind of challenge convention and think about, what you do, why you do it, or even what's promoted, maybe in your circles, maybe at your place of worship or what have you. Yeah. I think it's always important to consider what it is we do, how we do it, why we do it, and to get together on how we do that.
Yep.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. So, having said all that, we getting out of here. All right. So it's time for Monday Night Football. I don't know who's playing, but We're going to pray.
Okay.
All right. Heavenly Father, we just come tonight just thanking you for who you are in our lives. We just ask you continue to be with us, be with every couple on this broadcast. Has helped them to unite together with you in their lives, and we ask you to bless their families and just help us all to live a life that is pleasing to you, and help us to all challenge each other to do the things that are necessary to live a life with you. So we just thank you for the grace you've given us through Jesus Christ. We ask that you bless every home, every family, and in everything that they do. We pray these other blessings in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
All right. And that's it. Hey, listen, y'all check out my man JC as usual as we get you out of here. If I can get him on. Good night, y'all.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. It's your boy JC. I'm in the mood, love. Yeah. Lately I've been constantly thinking about you, babe. You drive me crazy, yeah. And girl, I want this. Got me all up in my feelings. Oh, what a feeling, yeah. I knew the first time I laid eyes on you that you would be here forever. I'm not being arrogant, and I still can't take my eyes off you. 'Cause you made me better, so much better. I'm in the mood to love you for a lifetime. I'm in the mood to love you for a lifetime, baby. I love your kindness, I love your confidence. Ooh, you're the finest. So glad you're mine, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I don't wanna be with nobody else. Give me your love, that's all the wealth I need. Baby, you're priceless to me, yeah. To love you for a lifetime. I'm in the mood to love you for a lifetime. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Promise I'ma be around. I'ma always hold you down. Won't you come and hold me now? Won't you come and hold me now? I just got a new coupe. Yeah, I know I got a roof, but I always keep it down with you. Yeah, and I know they see it. Girl, you're my queen, and beauty speaks for itself loud and clear, yeah. So throw it in the air. It's the sweetest sound to follow my ear. And I want the world to know I'll love you forever. And that's a long time, babe. But I got time for you, baby. I'm in the mood. Ooh, for a lifetime. I'm in the mood to love you, yeah. For a lifetime, baby. Ooh, yeah. For a lifetime. Oh, for a lifetime. Yeah, yeah.